Oh, there you are, YouTube. Do. Subscribe if you're interested, but also no pressure. Hey, I think we're going to do a random ranking today. We're going to do a random ranking in my freshly organized movie collection. Excuse me. It's not fully organized because let me show you this. Actually, maybe we'll do the random ranking from this list over here. So, yeah, this will be fun. So what oh my gosh, oh my goodness, good thing none of those were steel books. Okay, so, story time here, little look into my life. So when my wife and I, when we have to work from home, today was one of those days where we had to work from home, sometimes what we'll do is we will go to our movie collection. One of us will do this. We'll go to our movie collection and then we'll pick out like 5 to 10 movies that we're in the mood to watch that we think maybe the other one might be in the mood to watch also. So it's kind of like a way to compromise. So like I will come down here and I'll pick out 10 movies that I want to watch, but I have to keep in mind what she wants to watch, what she might want to watch also. And then I bring those up to her, and then she says, out of the 10 that I have, I'm interested in this one, this one, this one. She'll maybe pick 3, and then I go, out of those 3, I think I'm most interested in these 2, and then she's like, out of these 2, I think I'm most interested in this one, and then we go with that one. And then today, we did that same thing, except for she was the one to pick the movies. So, I'm going to go ahead and show you all of the movies. Should I just rank these? That might be fun. Do I want to? No, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do it that way. But I'm just going to show you, maybe, am I even going to rank them? Maybe I'm just going to show you, again, an example of our life and how this worked out. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you what happened. So my wife came down here today and then picked out a grouping of movies that she was interested in watching today that I might be also. And here goes. You know what, let me switch the order of these just so I can get them, because some of them have like sequels and stuff. Okay, so first off, we have, this is one of the movies she picked out, The Silence of the Lambs. This is a Best Picture winner, so that's kind of pertinent because we just had the Oscars. This movie beat Beauty and the Beast for Best Picture, along with some other films. But this one is a kind of a constant. It's not like we always have this one in our stack, but it does show up quite a bit because we're both big fans of this, and my wife especially. This is one of her favorite movies of all time. Next, we have a movie that is literally in the stack almost every time from me or her, because we both love this movie, and we think it is a great background movie. And that is The Social Network, another Oscar nominee, almost for Best Picture. This was the year that The King's Speech won, but had The King's Speech not been there, would this have won? I think most people think yes. So yeah, this one is usually one that we pull out during the fall. So the fall season, I think it's because it's school. You go back to school in the fall, that sort of thing. So I was surprised when she pulled this one out because I was like, oh, usually that's something we watch in the fall and the spring, and it was a very nice day today. Like, oh, perfect. Unfortunately, we had to work inside. I guess we could have brought our laptops outside. But anyway, so I was surprised. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But since we watch it in the fall, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that one. So this was not one that I wanted to pick, but I'll get into that a little bit later. Next, we have a perfect movie for the sort of summertime. I know it's like not even spring yet, but you know, the warmer weather, and that is Speed. She also picked Speed. Now, she loves Keanu Reeves. We actually got to see Keanu Reeves in person in his band, with his band Dogstar last year, and it was such an amazing time. But she really loves this movie. This is sort of the movie that made her fall in love with Keanu. Something that he did with his arm. She like looked at his arm and then like fell in love with him. So this one I was like, ooh, that's a good one, especially for a bright day like today. And then we had Zodiac. This one is another one that gets viewed quite a bit, but when we watch this, it's always the director's cut. So Yeah, this one I feel like is sort of year-round for us, but because we were watching a movie in the middle of the day, I wasn't necessarily sure if this was what I wanted to watch, just because there are a lot of darker scenes in it. Not to say that there aren't daytime scenes in it, but a lot of the evening and night in it just didn't quite feel right. Next we have The Game, Christopher Nolan, which is cool because he just won Best Director, he just won Best Picture, and this is one of his movies here. Wait, no, sorry, not, this is not Christopher Nolan. This is David Fincher. I don't know what I did there, sorry. Why did I think this was Christopher Nolan? I don't know. My brain went somewhere weird. Also, David Fincher. Also, David Fincher. And David Fincher is my wife's favorite director. So another reason why I should not have done that. Obviously, this is David Fincher. Anyway, so maybe because it's kind of puzzly. And you know, Nolan films are puzzly. So I think maybe that's where I was at with that. I don't know. No excuse. There's no excuse for it. It was just a screw up on my part. But I do know this is a David Fincher movie. So yeah, this one, you know, this it was on my mind when she pulled that one out. I was like, oh, maybe. And then 10 Cloverfield Lane. So, you know, Cloverfield, and then this was sort of the sequel spin-off thing. I think it was like written to be its own movie, and then they're like, hey, let's make that a Cloverfield movie. So then they did. I think that's the story behind it. John Goodman, hello. And then we had Contagion. Now this one we watched a lot until the pandemic, but this used to be one that was like almost always in our stacks whenever we would choose one, because I don't know, we really liked the score, we liked the pacing of it, and then the pandemic happened, and then it just wasn't as fun to watch, I guess. So we didn't we haven't watched it in a long time. I don't even know if we watched it since, honestly. So it's been some years, but this one we used to watch all the time. And next is John Wick 1, 2, and 3. She added this to the collection again. Keanu. She loves Keanu. Loves him as John Wick, as do I. So yeah, we really like these movies as well. And then in addition, we have John Wick 4, the most recent one. And that too is included in this stack. So let me show you how we pick these movies. So I already told you, she came down here and then picked these out. How many was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 movies. I guess sometimes way more than 10, because sometimes the stack is really big. Also, a movie that was not in here that I was surprised, usually Sideways is also usually in our stacks, especially on a bright sunny day. So I was surprised when she didn't have Sideways in here, because that one's also kind of a constant, along with Social Network. I would say the most constants in here are probably the Social Network and Zodiac are the ones that get watched the most. But Sideways, especially on a day like today, would usually be in here. So this is what I did. Now again, this was during the day, so it was sunny. It's a nice day. So I was thinking brightness a little bit. So my mind went to Speed. So here this is the narrowing down process for how we pick a movie. So I was like, you know, maybe Speed. And then I also said The Game. And I don't know why, but for some reason I was just kind of feeling The Game. Didn't really have anything to do with temperature outside, the brightness of outside. It was just kind of like, you know, it's been a while. Been a while since I've seen it. And then I think I also picked Cloverfield Lane. And I think that was just because in a random ranking recently, I pulled Arachnophobia and talked about John Goodman most of the time, and John Goodman's in this, so he's just kind of fresh in my mind. So I wanted to pick that one. And then I also picked John Wick 4. And that's because it's the most recent one, and I feel like when it comes to the John Wick movies, I remember the first one the most, and then 2 and 3 kind of blend together, and then this one kind of stands out for me, probably because it's the most recent. And yeah, I just wanted to watch that one. So that left these out of the stack. So that meant we were not going to watch The Silence of the Lambs. We were not going to watch The Social Network because it just was a little too fall for me. Silence of the Lambs, I don't know why I didn't pick that one. Zodiac, did I have that one in? I think I actually did have Zodiac in. I think I did include that one, but then I got rid of Contagion, and then I got rid of John Wick 1, 2, 3. So then, I think she... No, I think actually it didn't trade to her. I told her these, and then, because sometimes she'll go next, but then I think I actually whittled it down the most. Because then I went, well, I think I took out Zodiac. That's why I was thinking it was out. And then I took out The Game. Then I sort of looked at these three again. And then I took out Cloverfield Lane. And then I started to go Speed because it's bright, Speed because it is warm. So it's not summer, it's not even spring, but you know. And then I was like, John Wick, I don't know, I'm just kind of in the mood to watch John Wick. So John Wick 4, specifically. And then that's what we ended up going with. I, for some reason, was like, you know what, I don't want Speed, I want John Wick. And I was kind of surprised I even wanted to pick that one. Because, you know, there's a lot of noise in it, a lot of action, but the sound here, which is... What is it? Dolby Atmos? What is it? Yeah, I think. It just does pretty well with our sound system to where, because sometimes we'll be watching a movie and it's like really quiet dialogue, and then the action scenes are like, ah, and we're like turning it down, and then we're turning it up, turning it down, turning it up. But this one, it was perfect the whole way through. It wasn't interrupting our work or anything. It was just nice, level, even, perfect, just like TVs were back in the day of analog. You know, it was great. Where, yeah, things weren't. I don't know a lot about sound, so that's something I need to figure out, because I don't know why some movies do that, some movies don't. But I feel like whenever it's Dolby Atmos, it's good. So, anyway, so that's what we went with. We watched this, and it was great to rewatch it, because I don't think we had seen it since the theater, and I just remember after we got out of that one, as we were watching that movie, as we were watching John Wick 4, there were a lot of cool takeaways from it that I loved. A lot of great set pieces where action takes place, so it was great to revisit those locations. Some cool filming styles. It was really cool to see that again. Not as effective on the television as it was in IMAX, which is where we saw it, but it was still very awesome. And then there was this character that was introduced also, one of the baddies, and to see him again, he just kind of reminded me of a Dick Tracy character, a Dick Tracy bad guy, and I don't know, I think his part might be my favorite part of the whole movie. He's such a cartoon. He just feels, again, like a Dick Tracy character villain. And it was just great to revisit that movie. But that's kind of our system on how to pick a movie when we're both involved. One of us comes down here, picks out 5, 10, 15 movies, and then the other one sort of whittles it down, and then we'll kind of trade back and forth. Or sometimes the one person will do it and then kind of get some notes. You know, well, what do you think of this? Well, I don't know. I think I'm more feeling this sort of mood. And then it's like, okay, and then, you know, whittle it down to one. And today's movie was whittled down to John Wick 4, and that's why we watched it today. And we were both very happy, very glad to do so. Had a wonderful time watching it as we were working from home. But here's the other thing. When we do this, we never watch movies that we've never seen, because we're working. It's more of a background movie. So we have to make sure, we have to consider that. Our eyes are not going to be on it. We're going to be paying half attention or even less than half attention. So it can never be a movie we've never seen. We only do this with movies we have seen, or ones that we're extremely familiar with. Obviously, this one we'd only seen one time, but we own it, so it's not that dire because we can always watch it again. But we had seen it the one time and not that long ago. So it worked out for us to use it as a background movie, because it just came out last year. We're pretty familiar with it. So yeah, that is our process of how to pick a movie. This was going to be a random ranking video, and then we turned it into this. I think that's really fun. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. How do you pick your movies when you have to consider someone else? When you have to consider someone else? Because if it were me, I would, well, I guess a background movie is different. Background movie, I'd probably just put in like Spider-Man 2 or something. I don't know, actually. But when I'm by myself and picking a movie, I'm going to sneeze here in a second. But when I'm by myself and I'm picking a movie, I'll always pick something I've never seen before in my collection. But a lot of the movies I've never seen before in my collection, she has zero interest in, right? So we got to figure out, we're both going to be in this room. We both got to watch this movie. It's got to be one that we're both interested in. And that's our process for how we pick a movie. Let me know how you would pick a movie in that situation. I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments below, and perhaps we'll see you tomorrow for more Pure Hangout.